Thank you for joining our session today on enabling and managing virtual hearings for courts and agencies. So we're going to start over here at the first stage. When you're enabling LawToolBox, you need to get the licenses. LawToolBox is a solution that can be added to a Microsoft invoice. I happen to be here on the virtual hearings page, and when I scroll down, our licensing partners that work on behalf of courts and agencies can add LawToolBox to their Office 365 licensing for that court or agency. Courts and agencies can also add LawToolBox directly to their Microsoft invoice. So what does that look like? Well, when we start this video, we're actually the example at the Microsoft Inspire conference in 2019 showing licensing agencies or MSPs, SIs, the Microsoft partners that manage Office 365, how to open Partner Center where they manage Office 365 licensing and instead go to Sell, Marketplace, choose LawToolBox, and add us directly to their invoice. So that completes how we purchase LawToolBox. Now let's look at step 2. How do we enable the LawToolBox virtual court experience? We're the second company in the world to do single sign-on with OpenID, which means there are no passwords to use LawToolBox, even for the SIs and licensing agencies that are enabling our app on behalf of courts and agencies. So they're simply going to use their Microsoft 365 Admin Center portal for that particular court or agency, go to the integrated apps, and they can deploy LawToolBox for both Outlook and Teams to a designated user group, a pilot group within that court or agency, right from their Microsoft 365 Admin Center. The next thing we're going to do is go to the LawToolBox Admin Center. That's called Admin Portal. Add users here. They can be instantly imported. We can read them from the Office 365 licensing. We can set reporting. We're going to circle back here to the meeting section here in a minute. But before I do that, I'll talk about some of these additional sections. Naming policy, this is where you set the names of your case types so that you're automatically setting records retention policies and data governance and automatic archiving of court records based on your IT organization's strategy for managing data. Again, LawToolBox is a system that lives in the Office 365 organization, so we don't take any court data out of the security of the Microsoft environment. It all stays inside the court or agency system. Copy template is where folder structures can be set by default based on case type for evidence sharing during court. Configure teams is where they can set default channels for teams related to certain types of court cases or judge case portals. And then, of course, let's dig in deep to the actual ins and outs of doing virtual court. We all know that that's about breakout meetings. In April, the month after COVID hit, LawToolBox launched an automated breakout room feature that configures the breakouts with a couple of clicks for any end user right before a trial begins or months before when they're scheduling. The way they do that is the admins for the courts are going to come here to import. They're going to click choose file, and they'll see all of the different breakout rooms that LawToolBox made available to them to customize and import simply as a CSV file. So we've already imported a handful. We've got domestic violence. This is the case type. These are the breakout rooms. And these are the instructions to the participants outside the courtroom that are attending these virtual court experiences, witnesses, etc. People that need translation services, as well as the judges and clerks themselves. We know who should have privileges to have access to which breakout rooms. Again, all of this can be automatically configured. We're going to see how that works here in a moment. So we've configured a couple more housekeeping items related to configuring So the way that you can enable multiple organizers, a clerk and a judge, for example, can be organizing and managing breakout rooms, starting meetings, and taking care of everything required with a lot of flexibility is through the LawToolBox breakout room feature and through our onboarding process where you onboard the courtrooms that will be part of your pilot. So we're going to see here that we've got a courtroom 7 and some judges and clerks that will be part of this process.